Item: SCP-1478. Code name: Inconveniently Stereotypical Cacti. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures: the colony of SCP-1478 is to remain where it was found in the Sonoran Desert. Subsite 34 has been constructed at the location for the purpose of monitoring the anomaly. Prior to conversation attempts with SCP-1478, personnel are to be equipped with proper desert safety clothing as defined by SCP-1478 specimens. This typically involves wearing a wide brim hat and a thin or no top. Additionally, personnel are to comply with SCP-1478's demands within reason before talking to them in order to ensure the object's compliance. Description: SCP-1478 is a group of 54 saguaro cacti, Carnegie gigantea, located in the Sonoran Desert. All specimens of SCP-1478 are visually indistinguishable from non-anomalous cacti of the same species. Objects exhibit full sentience and sapience and often vocalize without apparent means to do so. Groups of these cacti will often converse with each other about topics primarily focused on their immediate area or neighbors. If allowed to converse with subjects outside of their species, SCP-1478 will consistently advise the subjects in desert or American Southwestern topics, usually while presenting erroneous information. No instance of SCP-1478 has exhibited hostile behavior. However, the objects will often refuse to participate in conversation for a number of arbitrary reasons. Personnel are to comply to these demands if they are within reason in order to gain information from SCP-1478. When a person conversing with these objects fails to meet its requirements, that person will be transfigured into an instance of SCP-1478. This process has been reported to be painful, but instantaneous. Additionally, persons who have been transformed into an instance of SCP-1478 are able to perceive their prior places of occupation through unknown means. The significance and vector for this trait are currently unknown. Interview Log 1478 TAU. Interviewed: SCP-1478 to 1401. Interviewer: Agent Jason Myers. Forward: the following log was taken during primary discovery of SCP-1478. Agents arriving from Site-23 were attired in the standard black suits. Begin log. Myers: hello. SCP-1478 to 1401. Hey. Say, ain't you hot in that suit? Yeah, likely to overheat if you're not careful. Myers: please, don't worry about me. It's really not important. I'll be gone in a minute. Now, if you would, please tell me about this colony. SCP-1478 to 1401. Not important? Sir, I must protest. The desert is mighty dangerous. You're going to have to change before I start talking. Further attempts at questioning the subject at this point yield no results other than requests that Myers dress in a manner that would be appropriate for the environment. Agent Myers leaves the scene to retrieve a hat from the nearest city. Myers returns wearing a fedora, and once again attempts to converse with SCP-1478 to 1401. SCP-1478 to 1401. You pulling my leg? That ain't enough to shade ya. You're gonna need something with a wide brim. And what'd I say about them suits? All y'all, get fitted proper. Myers: size heavily, please, just answer our questions. I don't think changing for a 2-minute long interview is really worth going all the way. SCP-1478 to 1401. Not worth it? Not worth it. Boy, do you know what happens when folks don't bother preparing themselves for the dessert? End log. Closing statement. At the cessation of this interview, Agent Myers was transfigured into an instance of SCP-1478. All personnel from now on are to be dressed in appropriate clothing for the dessert as determined by SCP-1478 while interviewing the objects. Interview log 1478 Chi. Interviewed. SCP-1478 to 1416. Interviewer. Agent Alexander Fredericks. Forward. For the purpose of this interview, Agent Fredericks has been adorned in a sombrero and a poncho. Begin log. Fredericks. Hello. SCP-1478 to 1416. Howdy, partner. Fredericks. Could you please tell me abo? SCP-1478 to 1416. Whoa there, slick. I can't understand you a spit with your thick accent. You're gonna have to talk in a way I can hear ya. Fredericks. Right. Well, partner, I was wondering if, you could inform me about this here colony. I reckon. SCP-1478 to 1416. Oh shucks, yeah wantin' to know about us? Well, we're just some humble folks out here in Thesanoran, marking our living, you know. Shoot, I never introduced myself, did I? The name's Braxton. Arnold Braxton. Fredericks. Arnold Braxton. The ex. I mean, you the fella that disappeared from Reno 10 years ago? Fredericks attempts to spit on the ground. SCP-1478 to 1416. Sure enough. I used work for dem casinos, but I ended up here one day and thought, oh heck, I don't need no stinkin' city slicker telling me what to do. I got everything I need right here. So I stayed. I keep one eye on them, though, just in case they try and do something funny. Fredericks. How do you reckon that you managed to do that? SCP-1478 to 1416. You got broken eyes or something? They're everywhere. Why can't take 2 steps without bumping into a goddamn slot machine? Fredericks. And what are they up to? SCP-1478 to 1416. Swindling people. Ol Robertson finally got fired from there. Good riddance. He probably was dementiaed or something the whole time he worked there. And something about a robbery. 1. Fredericks. Shucks. Thanks. I think that'll be it for now. SCP-1478 to 1416. You'll take care now. Why here? End log. Interview log 1478-C. Interviewed. SCP-1478-054. Interviewer. Agent Fredericks. Forward. SCP-1478-054 has been positively identified as possessing the mind of Agent Myers. Begin log. Fredericks. Hey Jason. SCP-1478 to 1454. Size. Hey Alex. Fredericks. How are you holding up? SCP-1478 to 1454. Terribly. All these stupid cacti keep speaking in awful fake accents and it's driving me up the wall. It's so obvious that none of them have ever actually grown up with these. If I had movable arms and a head, I would have torn out my eardrums by now. Fredericks. That bad, huh? SCP-1478 to 1454. You don't even know. Hey, I know you're not here just to chat, That's not how we work. Let's just get to it, please. Fredericks, right. I'm sorry, Jason. Now, have you noticed any changes since the transfiguration? SCP-1478 to 1454. Well, for starters, I feel mentally connected with all these other cacti. Like, I feel their minds, and I don't know, I just feel it. I can tell who these people used to be but just aren't anymore. Well, except for one of them. That one, it doesn't seem like it used to be human, and I can hear a very, very loud voice coming from it. It just wants us to be Southern. I don't understand why, and I don't get it. Fredericks, I see. Where is this one located? SCP-1478 to 1454, about 10 meters to your left. Don't get too close to it, I think that it's testy. It'd probably make you into a cactus, too. Fredericks, I see. Anything else? SCP-1478 to 1454, I somehow know what's going on over at Site-23. I don't see it, I don't hear anything, I just kinda know. Like, some idiot broke the vending machine yesterday, right? The new Jackson kid. I know it's true. Fredericks, okay, got it. Final remarks? SCP-1478 to 1454. This is probably a side effect of the connection thing, but I feel like the other cacti are, I don't know, infecting me. I feel like I'm slowly becoming more and more like them. I said ain't yesterday, Al. I never fucking say ain't. It's the worst word in the history of language, but I fucking said ain't, and well, look at it. It's happening. Fredericks, understood. Thank you. End log. Footnotes. 1. Foundation personnel have verified that all these claims were accurate.